Okay, today's the day we start, well, court's already started on the Chevelle, but today's the day we actually start installing the ACES EFI system. We just got the intake off and, well, Court got it all unbolted, and then I came in and almost destroyed the whole car by putting a bunch of pressure on it with the engine hoist and then popping it, and about took both of our heads off. So he got the intake off, he's got the head scraped, cleaned, all that good stuff. And we're getting ready to pull out the ACES intake, the gaskets, all that, and we're gonna start putting new stuff on. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
This is the first EFI you've ever done?
Yeah.
Long time listener, first time caller, here we go. So here's our intake. It's already got rubber gaskets, which these ports are a little bit smaller than the ports in the heads, but our intake's a lot smaller than the ports in the heads, so we're just gonna go with it. What we're gonna do is take this bad boy out, and I think we're gonna pop this off because it came with a map sensor. So what we're gonna do is get our map sensor set up. I guess we'll probably end up plugging most of these. We'll bolt our throttle body on, and then probably even put our water neck. We'll get basically this whole thing ready to put on, and then we'll put it on. Does that sound good to you?
Yep.
Come on. All right, we got our intake pretty much all assembled. I'm gonna order some plugs for here because we don't need any of the vacuum ports. We're not running power brakes or anything like that, and we don't have any boost reference stuff yet. I was gonna put the injector harness on, but the one thing about ACES that I didn't know, it's all one harness. So you don't have a separate injector harness, which no big deal. Most people probably aren't used to that anyways. Our water neck does not fit. We're gonna have to get like a standard water neck. The one we had is a big one that's adjustable, but we'll just have to get a standard water neck. Again, no big deal. Throttle body all went on good. Fuel rails fit great. Everything went on and bolted up great. I've had issues with Holly trying to get the rails to fit right and all that, but these, no big deal. It looks like, so the nice thing about this is going to seal directly against the block in there, and I'm just gonna have to run a thin line of silicone weld gasket maker. So this motor's pretty fancy. We got the fancy screens, which some people don't even like, which doesn't really matter to me. Got them link bar lifters though, come on. Nice. Yeah, we're waiting for Korean to get back with some gasket maker. Then we're gonna slap this thing on, and then we can drop our distributor down in and go from there. Okay, so the intake is on, and I will say it actually, all of the bolt holes lined up great with the head hole, the threads in the head. Oops. I will say one thing, don't do what I did because this is not an LS. Don't put your throttle body and fuel rails and injectors in before you put the intake on. I thought I was saving myself time. I was not, because no matter what, you have to get down in there and tighten all those bolts. So we ended up having to take most of all that stuff off. Also, I took Karina took the water nut off the small block out there, and I just put it on here, and it fits perfectly. So it all fits nice and well. We just have to, the process of installation is a little different than what would be normal for what I'm used to on an LS, because it's a big block and they're a little bit more complicated to work on because it's not just all O-rings and impact everything on. So I got all my goop up here, back there. That all should be sealed. The radiator hose is done. I just got to cut this line because this intake sticks out a little further. So I got to cut that line, shorten it up a bit, and then we have to do, I need to get a coolant temp sensor. I think the kit came with one. I may have lost it. Maybe it didn't come with one. I don't know, but I need to get a coolant temp sensor. Either way, I got the crossover that comes with the intake. I ran it under so it looks nice and clean. I got a plug back there, and then my fuel line was already right there, so that actually worked out really well. So the intake's on, gooped, gasketed, tight. Now we can work on dropping the distributor in, and then from there it's literally just hooking up a few wires. So we could pretty much go from carbureted to fuel injection in like 4 or 5 hours. Just because everything's working out pretty well. Now, they did send me their whole fuel pump setup. We have all that, but I've already got an intake set up in the car, so that's gonna stay in there for now. And then I'm gonna hook my filter regulator back up back there, and we'll go from there. So fuel system, done. Cooling system, done. Intake, done. Throttle body, done. Now, it's pretty much just wiring and O2 bungs. We could fire this thing up on the 85 today.
I'm ready to hear it.
That'd be pretty cool. I'm ready to smell some corn juice. All right, we're gonna get back to work. Okay, we got our billet bad boy distributor here. We got it bumped over to top dead center, and we're gonna slide this thing in and see. Hopefully it's not 180 degrees out. Right? Right?
Hopefully.
And then after that, we're gonna start plugging stuff in and running some wires and then fire this bad boy up. You gotta drill some holes in the exhaust pipes. Oh, if you wanna take the exhaust off, you can.
Okay.
We need to mark the pipes, and then you can take them off. I'll drill them and weld them. Bada boom, bada bing. That one seemed to drop down a lot easier than all the other times we've tried to drop it down. So I'm suspicious it's not actually gonna be right. But we did look at the cam gear, or the oil pump gear, and look at it versus where that gear was, and that's pointing straight to number 1, and we're on top dead center, so we may actually have it right. We'll see. All right, we're moving on to our fancy porcelain plug wires. We got our distributor in. We think it's right. But these plug wires are actually really, really nice. They even got rubber inside there that really holds them on really well to the plugs. And I got my fancy dancy plug wire maker thing here. So we're going to cut them all to length and get the plug wires done, and then I'm gonna drill and weld in some O2 bungs. Court's making a mount for the ECU right now. Karina's painting on Eddie's car. It looks beautiful. And we're getting ready to try to wrap this thing up. Once he gets the ECU mounted and the coil mounted, and I get the plug wires done and the bungs welded in, we can just start plugging stuff up and then try to fire this bad boy up. It's pretty straightforward and pretty simple. And it also looks really good. I also got me a fancy V-band from my pile of spare parts and a 4-inch tube that I'm gonna make a cold air intake out of. It's gonna look real fancy. Ain't that right? Right? Fancy. All right, we got all of our plug wires made, ran, finished. I got the throttle body off right now because I'm getting ready to weld the V-band on it. But we're getting ready to start wiring. We already put the harness in there to see if our coil location versus our distributor location was gonna work, because these plugs were kind of close to each other, but they're actually gonna work out really nice. So far, what I can see and what I have seen on our main harness here, you have all of your sensors and your injectors, and then you have your relays and your fuses on the main side here. So this wiring harness is what will go in your engine bay. This wiring harness is what's going to stay in here and plug into your ECU. You can screw or mount the relays and fuses. I'll probably just zip tie them up, and then all of these wires are your ignition wire, rev limiter, pumps, fans, all that stuff. So this is all in here. This is all engine bay. It's pretty cut and dry. All of the loom is really nice. It's all got the fabric electrical tape. So we're gonna start feeding through our hole and start plugging stuff in, and then we'll hook a couple wires up and maybe have fire in the pipes later. Stick around. I still got to do O2 bungs, but right now I'm working on the intake because I just really wanted to weld the V-band on it because I'm in the mood to weld. So that's what I'm doing right now. Court's getting ready to start feeding some wires. Come on. I can see up your shorts.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing under there?
Trying to tie all these wires up.
So we had to move our coil just a little bit because the harness wasn't long enough to reach where we mounted it, which is pretty far away anyways. But there's literally only 4 wires that you hook up on this thing. You got power, ground, ignition, and fuel pump. So Court got those 4 wires hooked up. He's zip tying everything up now, and yeah, we're getting ready to see if we can put some fire in the pipes here in a bit. Okay, so the time has come. We are putting this thing on E85, and we still have a mixture of C16 and pump gas in the tank. So we popped the fuel line off. We're gonna cycle the fuel pump and put it all in there. I did already power it up, and it kicks the fuel pump on. I thought you had to set that up, but apparently it's already set up in the ECU itself. So I'm going to plug everything back in, and we're going to pump all of this junk fuel out of there and put some of that corn juice in there, because I don't know what it is, but I love the smell of E85. And now my door's stuck. So stay tuned. All right, time to pump. Let's see what she looks like. That thing looks pretty dang good. Their monitor mount, their quick and easy mount, I'd say works pretty dang good. All right, so I'm just gonna keep cycling this until our tank's full. Once we get that out, Karina's on her way back with some E85. Once we get the E85 in it, then I'm actually gonna go through their tune-up wizard and yeah, try to fire this thing up. Okay, we are to the setup point, but before we do the setup, I wanted to go over just pretty much the whole overview of the car. I know I look horrible, we're dirty, we're sweaty, but this whole setup, honestly, I mean, Court's never done EFI before, and we weren't sure what all we needed as far as hardware, which we didn't really need much. It came with pretty much everything we needed, besides a coolant temp sensor, but I think, like I said, I think I lost that, so. Either way, he had probably, what, 6 hours in it yesterday?
Probably.
And he might have 2 hours in it today, and I might have a couple hours yesterday and a couple hours today. But realistically, first time EFI installer by yourself at your garage at home, you could do this in a weekend. And that's like giving you plenty of time to do it, to read over everything and do everything you need to do. I think if you started kind of unboxing it Friday night, getting your bearings, and then working Saturday and Sunday, you could have your whole car swapped over to EFI in a weekend. If you know what you're doing, you could probably do this in a day. So I'll go over pretty much what all we have from Aces, and then we'll try to set this up and see how bad I can screw it up. Okay, let's start with the cool part. Here's our sheet metal, all black, murdered out intake with a custom V-band welded on and our custom intake tube, because sooner than later, we're gonna get boost. So they sent us their injectors, which I believe are 60 or 80 pounds. I'll have to look, I can't remember. 60 or 80 pound EV6 style injectors, their 102 throttle body, their sheet metal intake, fuel rails, fuel pressure sensor. They even give you the little bulkhead fitting. It's like kind of like a union that has the 1/8 inch NPT thread in it for their fuel pressure sensor, their map sensor, which bolts directly into the back of their intake, their billet distributor, their plug wires, their O2 sensors, which they send bungs for. We got, I mean, their whole wiring harness, which is really nice and easy. It's completely labeled. And like I said, we had 4 wires, which is power to battery, ground to battery, power, ignition power, and then what was the other one? Oh, fuel pump power. So you literally run 4 wires, plug everything in, and you're pretty much good to go. Now, the one thing we are gonna do once we get it started, or try to start it, I'm gonna have to try to verify timing to where I can, I believe, tell the ECU, you know, if the ECU says we have 30 degrees in it, then I'm gonna have to make sure that this is accurate with the ECU. But other than that, going back with their throttle body, they send an IAC and a TPS, which a lot of other companies don't do, so that was nice. And then they sent us their fuel pump and their whole fuel pump assembly, but we already had a really nice fuel pump set up already in this car, so that will end up going in the S10. And yeah, so we'll see how it works over there. But for now, I think it's time to do our setup on our ECU, so let's go in here. I do need to put some E85 in it. Carino went and got us E85, so I'm gonna put fuel in it and then I will start our setup. Oh yeah, that's definitely 85% ethanol. That's good stuff. Thank you, Casey's. All right, either it didn't come with it or I lost the instructions, so we're just gonna wing this. So let me peel this bad boy off. Tell me if we got any fuel leaks. That sounds good enough. All right, so this is a Joker ECU, so we'll click Joker. Tuning. Or actually, let's go to Wizards. Start Wizard. System default. We'll go race. Aces. Sure. Chevy. Map. I took a picture of that map sensor. I don't remember what map sensor that was. Hold on, let me look at my photos. Okay, I looked at the map sensor. We're map 1041. Dual widebands. Spark energy. We'll go with the big one. Wizard number of injectors, we got 8. I wish I could go up to there, but we can't. We got 60s. I really like this whole touchpad thing. $477, that's me. 1843652. Yes. We'll do 1,000. Cam type race. Save. Yes. gonna blow up when I start it again. It must have saved all my stuff. Okay, now we need to go to TPS. TPS, yes. Make sure the throttle is closed and the engine is not started. Okay. Floor it a couple times. Go grab that throttle blade and open it and close it. Actually, maybe not. It says make sure the throttle blade's closed, so leave it closed. It says successful. Okay, that's weird. So what, am I just supposed to try to start it now? I guess we'll try it. Huh. I can't even believe it tried to start. That was easy. We go crack the throttle a little bit, just with your hand. Don't let it blow you up in the face. Okay, you can shut it. Cylinders. Better get our heat gun out. I'm surprised. I think I can smell it. Smells like race fuel, so it's still probably got a bunch of gas in it. It still smells like gas back here. Since that's a deadhead style, probably has a bunch of gas in there. It's probably just really upset. All right. Let me do some looking and we'll reconvene. I can't believe it even started though. That's like, that's very surprising to me. I didn't even read any instructions. I just guessed on everything. So far, so good. Let's check it out. One thing we didn't think about, verified timing. So that's probably why it's so upset. So that's what we're gonna do now. We're gonna try to get it start and then verify timing because I literally just guessed on wherever that was supposed to be. So I'm pretty sure it's right in the gear, but wherever I set it at there, I have no idea. So we're gonna put the battery on the charger so we can crank more, and then we're gonna verify timing. All right, well, it turns out if you actually read the instructions, it tells you to lock out the timing in the ECU and then start it, set the timing to the timing you locked it out at and all that. So I actually read the instructions. You go to acesefi.com and you pick whatever setup you have, and it tells you literally step-by-step process. I just tried to fumble my way through it just to see how easy, how user-friendly this stuff was, even without reading the directions. Plus, I just never read directions anyways. That's a major fault of mine, but either way, read through it, super easy. We set the timing. Now it starts and runs like a champ. Obviously, I'll probably have to do some tuning, just some fuel tuning and let it learn and all that. I need to put water in it. It's really hot right now, so it doesn't really want to idle, but it revs and it's snappy. It never revved like this with the Dominator, I'll tell you that much. So we'll start it up and let you guys hear it. like corn juice in here. Heck yeah, boys. It even started up good too. Well, as of right now, I can say I'm currently a fan of Ace's EFI. How about you?
Yeah, I like it.
I mean, even though we didn't read the instructions, which we should have, I'd say this is pretty much a success. I'm actually really excited and glad we're gonna be putting Aces on this thing. So stay tuned for this thing. This truck's gonna be freaking awesome. You have no idea. Technically, we'll be using leaf spring suspension, but we will not have a leaf spring setup. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be a new big package, suspension package we add to the site. So it's gonna be a long process. Don't get your hopes up. But sooner than later, we're gonna have some really cool, a lot more really cool stuff for S10s. And we're getting ready to blow this thing apart so we can start 3D scanning that also. So as of for now, that's it for this thing. I have to go get a gasket for our water neck, but I'm honestly thoroughly surprised. I thought the startup, the tune-up, everything about this was going to be harder. The software was the one thing I was worried about with this, and as of right now, it's actually really easy. So when you go to the TPS deal, you're just setting, when you hit yes, you're just basically you crank the throttle to wherever you want it, and then let it be at 0. Then you hit yes, and that is a TPS 0 set. It's not like a Holly where you have to go up and down, up and down. You literally just set 0 on the TPS and it knows how many degrees it has after that. So that's pretty cool. The Start Wizard, I mean, the freaking fuel, this thing was spot on the fuel. I mean, I can sit here and literally whack this thing and it actually revs up. I've never done that with anything else. So, I mean, even the Dominator, it would stumble and act crazy. So I'd give this 2 thumbs up, but I'm holding the camera, so I'm gonna give it 1 thumbs up. But I'm really excited about my big screen I got in here. This thing's really nice. It's not laggy. It's not anything stupid. It's just cool. You can set up your own. You can set up all this stuff, I guess. There's so much I can play with on it, but it's done. The O2s worked great. Everything is working really good. So A++ for Ace's EFI. Oh, now we just got to get some water in this thing, get the front suspension done, and then go see how fast we can go on E85 and EFI, because right now our 60-foot time's only a 170. I think, was it a 170? No, it was a 220. No, it was a 230 or 240, and then it went to like a 220 or 210.
Like a 219.
Yeah, we got to get this thing into the ones. as sad as that sounds. So yeah, we'll put some long travel on it, some E85 and EFI, and then we'll see how the old Chevelle can do after that. So good job, Court. That's it for this video. Another thumbs up for Ace's EFI. Come on.